You have a responsibility to all Americans. Be a hero and vote no.
Supreme Court nominations are some of the messiest, most heavily charged events in Washington.
This confirmation process has become a national disgrace.
But why? Many say it started with this man.
What do you think about being on the Supreme Court?
I don't think about being on the Supreme Court.
His name is Robert Bork. He was nominated by President Ronald Reagan for the Supreme Court in 1987.
I today announce my intention to nominate United States Court of Appeals Judge Robert H. Bork.
For decades, nominees sailed onto the bench after a president nominated them. Hearings weren't even televised. But all that changed when Bork entered the scene. He taught at Yale University and had a long paper trail of controversial statements and legal writings. He opposed the 1964 civil rights law requiring hotels, restaurants, and other businesses to serve people of all races. He opposed a 1965 Supreme Court decision that struck down a law banning contraceptives for married couples, saying there's no right to privacy in the Constitution. He also opposed Supreme Court decisions on gender equality. Bork's controversial points of view set off one of the first efforts to derail a Supreme Court nominee in U.S. history. Democrats launched an aggressive campaign against his confirmation, led by Senator Ted Kennedy of Massachusetts.
Bork's America is a land in which women would be forced into back alley abortions, blacks would sit at segregated lunch counters, rogue police could break down citizens' doors in midnight raids, and school children could not be taught about evolution.
Delaware Democrat Joe Biden was the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee at the time. He originally supported Bork's nomination, but later changed his mind.
Mr. Biden.
No.
Liberal groups followed up with mass mailings, lobbying, newspaper, and TV ads.
Robert Bork wants to be a Supreme Court justice, but the record shows that he has a strange idea of what justice is.
The Senate ended up voting against Bork's confirmation.
The yeas are 42, the nays are 58. The nomination is not confirmed.
A new verb was born, to Bork. According to Merriam-Webster, it means to attack or defeat a nominee or candidate for public office unfairly through an organized campaign of harsh criticism or vilification. The next battle came in 1991 when Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, a liberal who fought for school integration, retired.
What's wrong with you, sir?
What's wrong with me? Well, I'm old.
President George H.W. Bush nominated a staunch conservative to replace Marshall, the court's first black justice.
As a child, I could not dare dream that I would ever see the Supreme Court.
At first, Clarence Thomas appeared to be on a smooth path to confirmation. But then, a leak. Civil rights lawyer Anita Hill accused Judge Thomas of workplace sexual harassment.
His conversations were very vivid. He spoke about acts that he had seen in pornographic films involving such matters as women having sex with animals and films showing group sex or rape scenes.
She said he repeatedly asked her to go out with him in a social capacity and would not take no for an answer when he was her supervisor at 2 federal civil rights departments. Judge Thomas denied the accusations.
As a black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves.
Once again, Joe Biden found himself in the middle of a hearing battle. He infuriated Republicans when he allowed Hill to testify after the hearings for Judge Thomas were practically done.
To this I answer, how can you expect us to have forced Professor Hill, against her will, into the blinding light which you see here today?
But he also angered liberals by not fully investigating her allegations.
The next person that refers to an FBI report as being worth anything obviously doesn't understand anything.
Thomas made it through, but just barely, with just 4 votes, and he replaced Justice Marshall. Years later, as Biden prepared his 2020 presidential bid, he called Hill to apologize.
To this day, I regret I couldn't come up with a way to get her the kind of hearing she deserved, given the courage she showed by reaching out to us.
In 2016, President Barack Obama nominated centrist Merrick Garland after the death of conservative Justice Antonin Scalia.
A circuit court known for strong-minded judges on both ends of the spectrum.
Judge Garland has earned a track record of building consensus as a thoughtful, fair-minded judge who follows the law.
Garland was the chief judge at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Obama thought he was a safe choice, even with a Republican-led Senate. But, as Democrats had done 29 years earlier, Republicans came out in full force against Garland.
The next justice could fundamentally alter the direction of the Supreme Court and have a profound impact on our country. So, of course, the American people should have a say.
Senate Republicans refused to even hold a hearing. Scalia's seat stayed empty until President Donald Trump nominated ultra-conservative Neil Gorsuch. If Garland had joined the court, it might have tilted left. Instead, Gorsuch took the court in the opposite direction. Trump's next pick was Brett Kavanaugh. Within days of his nomination, a psychology professor said he'd assaulted her in high school.
A combative day on Capitol Hill before either witness ever took the stand.
In what turned into a national spectacle, Christine Blasey Ford testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Apart from the assault itself, these past couple of weeks have been the hardest of my life. I've had to relive this trauma in front of the world.
Kavanaugh denied these claims and accused Democrats of trying to Bork his nomination.
The behavior of several of the Democratic members of this committee at my hearing a few weeks ago was an embarrassment. But at least it was just a good old-fashioned attempt at Borking.
He also characterized the hearings as a political conspiracy against him. But as Senator Kamala Harris pointed out, Trump's other nominee, Neil Gorsuch, was approved by the same legislative body in 2017.
I did a rough kind of analysis of similarities. You both attended Georgetown Prep. You both attended very prestigious law schools. You both clerked for Justice Kennedy. The only difference is that you have been accused of sexual assault.
Blasey Ford's testimony moved the nation, with even Trump initially calling her very credible.
I thought her testimony was very compelling, and she looks like a very fine woman to me.
Protests broke out around the country. In the end, a 50-48 vote secured Kavanaugh a lifetime seat on the court.
Ready, step!
On September 18th, liberal Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died of cancer complications, leaving an empty seat on the bench less than 2 months before the 2020 election. 8 days later, President Trump nominated conservative Amy Coney Barrett to take her seat. Quick reminder, in 2016, Senate Republicans united to block President Obama's nomination because the election was 9 months away.
If there's a Republican president in 2016 and a vacancy occurs in the last year of the first term, you can say, Lindsey Graham said, let's let the next president, whoever it might be, make that nomination, and you could use my words against me and you'd be absolutely right.
Majority Leader McConnell says this year is different because Republicans control both the White House and the Senate. Contentious Supreme Court battles might be here to stay.